I thought I was protecting myself by keeping quiet, but the truth is I've been carrying a secret that could shatter everything. I don't know if I'm the victim or the monster, maybe both.
Welcome to Reddit Toxic Family Telltales channel. New episode every day.
My mom isn't just baby obsessed. She's absolutely deranged about the idea of me giving her grandkids, to the point where she's willing to tear apart my entire life just to make it happen. Honestly, I've never met anyone more unhinged about motherhood than her. Started when I was only 8 years old. While other kids were outside riding bikes or playing tag, my mom had me and my sister Della strapped into pregnancy simulation suits. I'm talking 20 pounds of sandbags strapped to our stomachs. Every single day. She'd make us waddle around the house for hours, force us to practice breathing techniques, and make us watch birthing videos like it was Saturday morning cartoons. If I dared to complain about back pain, she'd smirk and dump more weight into my suit. Real mothers don't whine, she'd say. And as if that wasn't bad enough, she even made us breastfeed. These creepy robotic dolls that wailed if we didn't cradle them just right. While I spent every session daydreaming about escaping this madness, Della soaked it up like she'd found her divine calling. She'd waddle with perfect posture, stroke her fake belly, and whisper to it as if she were already 9 months along. By the time she was 16, she was literally begging Mom to let her be a practice surrogate for her infertile coworkers. And when she finally turned 18, Mom threw her this over-the-top party. Not for graduating high school, oh no, but to celebrate her signing her first surrogacy contract. I sat in the corner that night, surrounded by people calling her an angel and a saint, and all I could think was, this feels less like a celebration and more like a livestock auction. Within 3 years, Della had carried 3 babies for 3 different couples. Every time she got home from the hospital, Mom paraded her down Main Street like she just won a Nobel Prize. Asterisk. Look at my generous daughter, giving the gift of life. Asterisk. Meanwhile, I was busting my butt earning a biomedical degree, volunteering at women's shelters, fighting for bodily autonomy. But to my mom, that meant nothing. Such a waste of a perfectly good uterus. She'd sigh to anyone who'd listen. Asterisk. One daughter blesses families with children, while the other hoards her fertility for herself. Asterisk. The scariest part? Watching Della's body slowly crumble under the weight of it all. After her 4th pregnancy at just 22, she could barely walk without wincing in pain. Her hips were ruined, she suffered constant infections, and her hair started falling out in clumps. I tried talking to her, begging her to see what this was doing to her, but she just clutched my hands, eyes brimming with tears. Asterisk. Maria, this is what I was made for. My body is a vessel for miracles. Why can't you understand that? Asterisk. That was the moment I knew she was gone. So I started playing the game. I told Mom I was thinking about kids, wore looser clothes at family events, even accidentally left fertility clinic searches open on my laptop, all while secretly preparing my escape route, studying for the LSAT, applying to law schools across the country. Funny enough, I ended up specializing in reproductive rights and medical ethics, dedicating my life to helping women escape the exact nightmare my mother forced on us. By 28, I finally felt like I was making a difference. So when Mom invited me to Della's celebration dinner, I braced myself for yet another pregnancy announcement. But what I walked into, it wasn't a dinner. It was an ambush, an intervention. Sweetheart, you're not getting any younger, Mom announced as Della sat beside her, belly swollen with yet another pregnancy. Asterisk. So I've taken the liberty of starting your fertility treatments. Asterisk. Before I could even process those words, she pulled out a syringe filled with hormones. Asterisk. Just a little boost to get those eggs flowing. Asterisk. I shot out of my chair, but Della lunged from behind, gripping my arms. Asterisk. Please Maria, just try it. I already found the perfect couple for your first baby. Asterisk. Panic shot through me as Mom advanced with the needle. My eyes darted to the table, and that's when I noticed it. Multiple syringes lined up neatly in a row. They'd been planning this. I screamed, I fought, but Mom was relentless. The sting of the needle hit my thigh before I could break free. A burning wave spread through my muscles, searing through my body until my vision blurred. My ovaries felt like they were on fire. Through the haze, I heard her voice, calm and collected. Asterisk. Yes, we've started the protocol. She'll be ready for harvest in 2 weeks. Asterisk. Harvest. That word echoed in my skull. This wasn't family pressure anymore. This was trafficking. When I finally came to, I was in the ICU. The doctor said I'd developed ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome so severe they almost had to remove everything. And the very first thing out of my mother's mouth? Asterisk. We only brought you here because we wanted to save your womb. Asterisk. I slammed the red nurse button without hesitation. A nurse rushed in, took one look at my mother, and immediately escorted her out to run a private exam. When it was just the 2 of us, the nurse gently wrapped her arms around me and asked if I was okay. And that's when I broke. I poured out everything, the childhood drills, the forced surrogacies, the favoritism, the abuse. Every dark detail I'd been swallowing for years. She listened, eyes wide, and finally said, Asterisk. Say that again. Asterisk. For the next hour, I unloaded everything. And by the time my tears dried, she was on the phone with hospital security. My mother was banned from my room before she even knew what hit her. I didn't realize it then, But with the help of that one nurse, I was about to make my entire family pay. 20 minutes later, the nurse came back into my room, this time with a man in uniform. He pulled up a chair right next to my bed, introduced himself as Detective Rodriguez from the Domestic Violence Unit, and quietly explained, Maria, I specialize in reproductive coercion and forced medical procedures. What your mother did to you isn't just disturbing. It's assault. And from what I've heard so far, this may be part of a much bigger pattern. As he set a small recorder on the bedside table, I caught movement in the hallway through the glass. My mother was there. Her face twisted in fury as she tried to push through the emergency exit. When she spotted me watching, she pressed her face against the glass, mouthing something I couldn't catch at first. Then she exaggerated the words, dragging them out so I had no doubt. Ungrateful be ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** unrecognizable. Screen lighting up over and over. Detective Rodriguez raised a brow, asking softly, may I? I nodded. Message after message filled the screen, all from Della. How could you call the police? Mom was helping you. You're destroying our family. All she wanted was for you to experience motherhood. Rodriguez set the phone down with care, his jaw tightening. This isn't the first time we've gotten reports like this. Forced fertility treatments, shady clinics. It's becoming a trend. Tell me, does your mother work in the medical field? My stomach flipped. She's a receptionist at Blessed Beginnings Fertility Clinic. His expression darkened instantly. Just then, a knock at the door. A middle-aged woman walked in, clutching a clipboard. I'm the hospital social worker. But the second her eyes landed on my chart, she froze. Maria Gonzalez. Your mother is Patricia Gonzalez. I nodded slowly. Her fingers tightened around the clipboard. We've had some interactions. I'll get you resources. But her voice wavered, and when she handed me pamphlets about domestic violence, I noticed her hands were trembling. I needed answers. Grabbing my phone, I pulled up my medical portal and scrolled through recent documents. That's when I saw it. A medical power of attorney form, dated 3 months ago. Right after I'd made an offhand comment to Mom about maybe thinking of the future with James. And there, staring back at me, was my signature. Except it wasn't mine. The strokes were wrong, like someone had been tracing. This isn't my signature, I said, shoving the screen toward them. Before anyone could respond, the door swung open. A man in a tailored suit walked in, adjusting his tie. I'm representing Patricia Gonzalez. I understand there's been some misunderstanding about my client's daughter's care. Detective Rodriguez muttered under his breath. That was fast. The lawyer didn't miss a beat. Maria is clearly suffering from hormone-induced psychosis. Her mother was only trying to help when Maria became violent. We're requesting an immediate psychiatric evaluation. My head snapped up. I'm not psychotic. He gave me a condescending smile. The hormone levels in your system suggest otherwise. Ovarian hyperstimulation can trigger paranoia, hallucinations, mood swings. Suddenly, the hallway exploded with noise. Della appeared, surrounded by 5 small children clinging to her maternity dress. She raised her voice dramatically. Aunt Maria needs help. She's been struggling with jealousy for years. The kids started crying, their wails echoing through the corridor. Della bounced a toddler on her hip while rubbing her swollen belly with her other hand, playing the picture-perfect martyr. Desperate, I grabbed my phone and called my law firm. The receptionist picked up almost immediately. Oh, Maria, don't worry. Your mother already explained your situation. We're covering your caseload while you recover. I froze. What? No, I'm fine. I need to speak to the partners. She hesitated. The partners think it's best if you focus on your health. Your mother said your breakdown was severe. I hung up, my hands shaking. Through the glass, I saw Mom again. She'd pulled my keys. My apartment keys, my car keys, out of her purse. She was listing off my schedule like she was reciting a grocery list. Monday, court at 9. Tuesday, client meetings until 6. Wednesday, volunteering at the shelter. The lawyer scribbled notes like it was gospel. Then James appeared, rushing through the door in his work clothes. Maria, I got your text. What's? But Della intercepted him, hand on his arm, whispering. She gestured toward me, tapped her temple, the universal sign for crazy, and pulled out her phone. She showed him something on the screen. I couldn't hear, but I saw his expression harden. The nurse returned with a plastic bag. These are your belongings, she said, though her face looked uneasy. Inside were glossy brochures from Blessed Beginnings Fertility Clinic. She opened one, revealing a signed consent form for egg retrieval, dated last week. And the signature? Identical to the forged one on my medical documents. The hospital administrator appeared next, her smile tight and polished. Given the family's concerns, we believe it may be best to transfer Maria to our psychiatric ward for a full evaluation, just as a precaution. Behind the glass, my mother was smiling, triumphant. Rodriguez shot to his feet. She's not going anywhere without a court order. The administrator tilted her head, all smooth professionalism. Of course. We're simply considering her well-being. Then my phone buzzed again. It was Professor Chen, my law school mentor. Maria, I just spoke to your mother. She's very worried about your pregnancy delusions. You've been fixating on wanting a baby but can't conceive. Are you okay? I nearly screamed. Every piece of my life, work, mentors, relationships was being poisoned, one by one. I looked around the room. Detective Rodriguez, tense but steady. The social worker, refusing to meet my eyes. James in the hallway, his trust crumbling as Della whispered in his ear. Finally, I took a shaky breath. Fine. I'll do the evaluation. I'll prove I'm competent. The lawyer's smile spread. Excellent. Dr. Margaret Whitfield will conduct it. She's the best in the state. The name slammed into me like a brick. Dr. Whitfield. I knew her. She'd been coming to Mom's book club for years. Over a decade. But it was too late. The administrator was already making calls. And my mother's smile through the glass widened into victory. The nurse bent over my bed, pretending to adjust my pillow. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Whatever happens, don't sign anything else. And check your phone's location settings. Someone's tracking you. As the room emptied, my gaze shifted to the hallway. Daniela was showing James her phone again. This time I caught a glimpse. Old messages from 2 years ago when James and I had just started dating. Messages where I'd casually said maybe one day, far in the future, we might want kids. She was twisting it, building a case that I'd always wanted children. That all of this, my terror, my protests, was nothing but frustrated desire boiling over into paranoia. And the look on James' face told me, it was working. The evaluation was set for 8 a.m. sharp. Tomorrow. As I lay there in that stiff hospital bed, staring through the glass at my mother pulling every string, every lever of control, the truth finally hit me. She'd been orchestrating this for years, waiting for the right moment. And like a fool, I'd walked straight into her trap. I tried rehearsing answers in my head, imagining every question Dr. Whitfield might throw at me. The nurse from the night shift had slipped me a mild sedative, whispering, you'll need to look rested, stable. But sleep never came. Every time I shut my eyes, all I could see was Mom's smile. The kind of smile you see on someone who's already declared victory. At 3 a.m., my phone lit up. An Instagram notification. Daniela had posted a picture from a family dinner last month. In it, I was slouched in my chair, eyes half closed, looking exhausted. The caption, praying for my sister's fertility journey. Some women struggle more than others to accept their maternal calling. My blood ran cold. The comments underneath were filled with sympathy for her. And pity for me. I scrolled through her feed in horror. Post after post. Photos of me at family gatherings, always catching me tired, distracted, vulnerable. Her caption spun a story. My baby fever, my fertility struggles, my supposed yearning for children. She'd been building this narrative for months, piece by piece. One video stopped me cold. It was me, kneeling on the carpet, playing with her youngest daughter. The text she added over it? She'll be such a good mom once she stops fighting nature. Then came the emails. Ping, ping, ping. My work inbox exploded with messages from colleagues and clients. Subject lines like, thinking of you during this difficult time. Take all the time you need. Confused, I opened one, then another, and then I saw it. An email, sent from my account at 2:47 a.m. Dear colleagues, I'll be taking an indefinite leave of absence to focus on personal health matters. As many of you know, I've struggled with fertility issues, and the emotional toll has become overwhelming. My family is helping me get the treatment I need. Please redirect urgent matters to the managing partners. Thank you for your understanding during this difficult time. Maria *. My hands shook so violently I nearly dropped the phone. That wasn't me. I hadn't written that. But the timestamp told the story. While I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, my mother had hijacked my identity and gutted my career in one swoop. I tried to log in, to send a correction, but my password had already been changed. The recovery email? Replaced with an address I didn't recognize. She had locked me out of my own professional life. 3 clients had already written back. Women I had personally helped escape abusive relationships. Now they thought I was crumbling, too. One wrote, I always knew you carried pain about motherhood. Please don't let it consume you the way it almost consumed me. The irony made me want to scream. By 6 a.m., the psychiatric ward's morning shift was filtering in. I saw the way staff whispered when they passed my door, glancing at me like I was a dangerous animal behind glass. News travels fast in hospitals. They thought I was the woman who attacked her poor, loving mother. A breakfast tray came, but my hands shook too much to hold the spoon. Even the orange juice tasted bitter on my tongue. After everything I'd been drugged with, I didn't trust a single bite. Detective Rodriguez appeared at 7:30, looking like he hadn't slept either. He pulled his chair close and lowered his voice. Asterisk, I've been digging. Your mother's name is tied to concerning patterns at blessed beginnings. Young women, mostly vulnerable, mostly without family support, who suddenly decide to become egg donors or surrogates after intake meetings. Your mother handles that paperwork. Asterisk. My heart sank. Asterisk. So she's been feeding them into the system. Asterisk. He nodded. Asterisk. But here's the problem. They all sign consent forms. They all pass psych evals. On paper, it looks legitimate. The system protects the clinic, not the women. Asterisk. Asterisk. Then we need evidence. Asterisk. His eyes were grim. Asterisk. I'll keep digging. But right now, my priority is making sure you survive this evaluation. Asterisk. At 8 a.m. sharp, Dr. Whitfield arrived. Exactly as I remembered her from Mom's book club. Silver hair in a neat twist, pearl glasses chain, immaculate skirt suit, and a smile that never reached her eyes. Maria dear, she cooed. Asterisk. Your mother has told me so much about your struggles. Asterisk. Rodriguez bristled. Asterisk. I'll be staying for this evaluation. Asterisk. She raised one manicured hand. Asterisk. I'm afraid that violates protocol. If you insist, I'll have to note in my report that the patient required police supervision. That indicates violent tendencies. Asterisk. He looked at me, jaw clenched. I gave the smallest nod. We both knew. She'd already written my verdict. When he left, she sat down, opened her briefcase, and I glimpsed forms already filled in. My evaluation predetermined. For the next hour, every word I spoke was twisted. When I said I chose career over children, she typed, asterisk, defensive rejection of femininity. Asterisk. When I explained I helped women escape coercion, she muttered, asterisk, projection of internal conflict. Asterisk. When I insisted I'd been injected against my will, she smiled sweetly and asked, asterisk, do you often feel persecuted by maternal figures? Asterisk. Then she produced a photo on her tablet. 3 baby dolls, staged neatly inside my closet. One holding a bottle, another with a diaper bag, the third wrapped in a handmade blanket. Dolls I had never seen in my life. Asterisk, your mother found these. Regression to childhood coping mechanisms is common with fertility grief. Asterisk. Asterisk. Those aren't mine. Asterisk, I snapped. She typed calmly. Asterisk, denial is also common. Asterisk. When I protested that I wasn't jealous of my sister, she tilted her head. Asterisk, 7 successful pregnancies, the admiration of her community, while you dedicate yourself to preventing other women from embracing motherhood. The pattern is obvious, Maria. Asterisk. By the time she closed her tablet, she had painted me as a woman so consumed by fertility grief that I'd invented a fantasy of persecution. I'm recommending a 72-hour psychiatric hold, she announced. Asterisk, with continued therapy, we can help you work through these delusions. Asterisk. My chest tightened. Asterisk, you can't do this. I know my rights. Asterisk. Her smile sharpened. Asterisk, of course you do. You studied law to compensate for what you see as your feminine failures. The hold begins immediately. Asterisk. She left me trembling, clutching the room's landline phone. Who could I call? My firm thought I'd had a breakdown. James was being poisoned by my sister. My accounts drained. Even my mentor was compromised. The transport team came before I could dial anyone. 2 orderlies with soft voices and firm hands. They treated me like I might shatter or lash out. Either way, I was dangerous. As they wheeled me through the underground tunnel, fluorescent lights flickered overhead. The hum of wheels and the squeak of shoes echoed against the concrete. My new room was a box. White walls. A narrow bed with restraint straps. A tiny window, reinforced glass. They gave me paper scrubs, took my belongings. The intake nurse was young, efficient, detached. Asterisk. Any history of mental illness? Asterisk. No. Asterisk, number of suicide attempts? Asterisk. 0. Asterisk, number of violent episodes? Asterisk. I hesitated. They're saying I attacked my mother, but, she typed, asterisk, 1 recent episode. Asterisk. Asterisk, Dr. Whitfield's orders say no visitors except family for 24 hours. No phone calls. It's for your stability. Asterisk. I glared. Asterisk, that's illegal. I have a right to contact my lawyer. Asterisk. She bit her lip. Asterisk. I'll check with the attending physician. Asterisk. But the attending physician was unavailable. So were the advocates. So was administration. Every path I might have used to fight back had been carefully blocked. I was trapped. Not in treatment. Not in recovery. In a system designed to look like help, while it quietly erased me. That afternoon, the door to my sterile little room opened, and in swept my mother, rolling a suitcase behind her as if she were moving me into college instead of a psychiatric ward. I brought you some comfortable clothes, she chirped, setting it neatly on the bed. Asterisk, and photos of Daniela's babies. I thought they might help you remember what we're working toward. Asterisk. She unpacked with surgical precision. Maternity clothes in my exact size. Bottles of prenatal vitamins. A pastel journal embossed with asterisk, my fertility journey. Asterisk, the first pages were already filled. Handwriting that mimicked mine but leaned just slightly different. Photos of babies I didn't even know, labeled with captions like your nephew and asterisk, your godson. Asterisk. The retrieval is scheduled for next week, she said casually, hanging up a flowing dress clearly designed for a pregnant woman. Asterisk, Dr. Martinez at the clinic is very optimistic about your egg quality. 28 is still young enough for excellent results. Asterisk. My voice cracked as I snapped. Asterisk. I am not consenting to egg retrieval. Asterisk. Her smile never faltered. Asterisk, of course not, dear. Not in your current state. That's why I've petitioned for temporary medical conservatorship. Just until you're thinking clearly again. Asterisk. She pulled out a thick folder, legal papers, medical documents, psychiatric evaluations. My signature appeared on half of them, forged so neatly it would take an expert to call it fake. The paper trail stretched back months, a carefully constructed narrative of my supposed descent into obsession. Your colleagues have been wonderfully supportive, she added, smoothing the dress against the wall. Asterisk, several even wrote letters for the hearing. They've noticed your preoccupation with pregnancy cases, and they thought you were working through something personal. Asterisk. I sat frozen, watching her transform my room into a grotesque nursery. She hung a tiny mobile of elephants over the bed, placed an ultrasound photo in a silver frame labeled Baby Gonzalez, with next month's date, laid out a book on pregnancy nutrition. Every item bolstered her story. She pulled out her phone. Daniela sends her love, she said. A video filled the screen. My sister lay in a hospital bed, pale but glowing, cradling a newborn. Flowers surrounded her. Hi, Maria, she said softly, her voice warm despite the exhaustion. Asterisk. I love you. And when you're ready, there's a wonderful couple waiting to give your babies all the love in the world. Don't fight this, okay? Let mom help you. She only wants what's best. Asterisk. The baby wailed, and Daniela winced as she shifted, pain flashing across her face before the camera cut. She's so brave, mom sighed, tucking her phone away. Asterisk, 5 pregnancies now, and she never complains. Unlike some people. Asterisk. Before I could reply, shouting erupted in the hallway. Security marched past my window escorting someone out. My nurse, the one who had slipped me warnings, helped me in the ICU. She carried a cardboard box of belongings, face flushed with anger. Mom followed my gaze. Asterisk. Oh yes, she was let go this morning. HIPAA violations. Sharing patient information without authorization. Such a shame. She seemed like a nice girl. Asterisk. The message was clear. Anyone who helped me would be destroyed. That night I couldn't sleep. The bed was too firm. The lights too bright. The air too thick with the sounds of suffering. Someone down the hall sobbed for hours. Another patient kept repeating asterisk, Mom? Mom? Asterisk over and over. The night nurse's flashlight pierced my room every hour like a prison guard's beam. Around midnight, another nurse slipped in. Older, gray-haired, with weary eyes. I don't have long, she whispered. Asterisk. I knew your friend, the one they just fired. She asked me to give you this. Asterisk. She pressed a tiny slip of paper into my hand. A phone number. Nothing else. Asterisk, don't call from here. They monitor everything. But when you get out, call. There are more of us than you think. Women who've seen what happens at that clinic. We've just been too scared to speak up. Asterisk. Then she was gone. I memorized the number, shredded the paper into confetti, and flushed it away. In their world, even evidence of allies could be spun as proof of delusion. The next morning, group therapy. 6 women sat in a circle under the watchful eyes of a young therapist who looked fresh out of grad school. Let's talk about femininity, he encouraged. When my turn came, I stayed silent. Every word would be weaponized. Maria is working through fertility grief, the therapist told the group gently. Asterisk, sometimes it manifests as rejection of traditional roles. Asterisk, a girl barely past her teens leaned toward me. Asterisk, I get it. I thought I didn't want kids either. But therapy helped me realize I was just scared. Deep down, we all want to be mothers. Asterisk, I wanted to scream that not wanting kids was valid. That femininity wasn't synonymous with reproduction. That I wasn't sick. I was imprisoned. But I just nodded, letting them file me away in their narrative. Lunch in the common room was no better. My tablemate, an older woman with hollow eyes, leaned close. Asterisk, first time. Asterisk, she asked. I nodded. Her laugh was dry, bitter. Asterisk, word of advice. Agree with everything. Nod, smile, tell them they're right. Fastest way out. I've been here 6 times. Keep fighting my daughter over custody. This time, I'll play along. Tell them I accept boundaries. That I see the light. Whatever it takes to get out. Asterisk. That afternoon, Dr. Whitfield summoned me to her new office on the ward. Inspirational posters lined the walls. Asterisk, motherhood is healing. Asterisk in curly fonts. Pastel images of cradled infants. Your mother tells me you were asking about the retrieval procedure, she began. Asterisk, I wasn't. Asterisk. It's natural to be curious, she said smoothly, sliding a brochure from Blessed Beginnings across the desk. Asterisk, they have an excellent success rate. The couple your mother selected, he's a doctor, she's a teacher, they've been trying for 5 years. Lovely people. Asterisk. Asterisk. I'm not donating my eggs. Asterisk. She smiled faintly. Asterisk, of course not. You're donating the possibility of life. There's a difference. Asterisk. She scribbled notes, then leaned forward. Asterisk, close your eyes, Maria. Imagine holding your biological child. Even if another woman carries them, they'll still be yours in the way that matters. Asterisk. I kept my eyes wide open, glaring at the diplomas on her wall. Real schools. Real credentials. This wasn't a fringe cult. It was the system itself working against me. Resistance is normal, she continued. Asterisk, but deep down, you know your mother is right. You've spent so many years fighting nature that you've confused the fight for the purpose. What if you just let go? Asterisk. That evening, visiting hours. I begged to see James. Instead, they sent Daniela. She shuffled in, one hand on her swollen belly, 5 children tugging at her dress. Aunt Maria is sick, she told them. Asterisk. But she's getting better. Asterisk. The oldest, a girl of 6, stared at me solemnly. Asterisk. Grandma says you're going to have babies soon too. Asterisk. That's right, sweetheart, Daniela answered before I could speak. Asterisk. Aunt Maria just needs help remembering how much she wants them. Asterisk. She spread photos across the table, childhood pictures of us in those cruel pregnancy suits. But these had been doctored. Smiles plastered on my face where none had existed. In the altered versions, I looked happy, eager. Asterisk. Remember how you used to name your pretend babies? Asterisk, Daniela asked, pulling out a worn notebook. My childhood diary. She flipped it open, revealing lists of baby names in handwriting eerily close to mine. Asterisk. Emma, Sophia, Little James Jr. You always wanted this. Asterisk. My throat closed. Asterisk, that was you. Those were your names. Asterisk. She shook her head sadly. Asterisk, no, Maria. Stress made you forget. But we've kept the proof. You've always wanted this. Asterisk. The children watched wide-eyed, absorbing every word. Learning that Aunt Maria was sick, that Grandma and Mommy were helping her remember her true purpose. The oldest glanced between her mother's belly and my flat stomach, confusion flickering in her eyes. After they left, I stumbled into the bathroom. The fluorescent lights reflected back a pale, hollow face. Mine but not mine. I looked like the other women in the ward, and I couldn't stop wondering. How many of them were here for the same reason? How many had fought too hard against expectations only to be labeled insane? That evening, chaos broke out on the ward. A new patient was dragged in, young, terrified, screaming about being forced to have a baby. Her words were jagged, desperate, until security pinned her down and the nurses slid a needle into her arm. Through the crack in my door, I caught fragments. Religious parents, a pregnancy pact, an escape attempt gone wrong. By morning, she was quiet, compliant. Her voice flat as she told the group she'd misunderstood her family's love. Sometimes we perceive care as control, the therapist said approvingly. Asterisk, but with medication and therapy, we can learn to accept support. Asterisk. I watched the girl's trembling hands, her delayed responses, the way she agreed to every statement, even when they contradicted each other. That wasn't healing. That was chemical obedience. My own breakfast tray arrived with a little paper cup. Just something to help with the anxiety, the nurse explained. Mild sedatives. Nothing heavy. Not yet. But I knew the progression. Refuse long enough and they'd escalate. Stronger meds. Injections. Compliance by any means necessary. I palmed the pills, pretended to swallow, later flushing them like the nurse's secret note. But I couldn't keep that game up forever. Eventually, they'd check my mouth, watch me swallow, inject me themselves. The conservatorship hearing was 3 days away. Dr. Whitfield stopped by to remind me it was just a formality. Asterisk. Your mother will handle everything, Maria. You just focus on getting better. Asterisk. But I knew better. If Mom gained conservatorship, she'd control everything. Egg retrieval, hormones, even a forced pregnancy if she wrapped it in enough therapeutic jargon. That night, I made my choice. Not escape, that would only prove their point. But performance. Strategic, flawless performance. I would become the daughter they wanted to see. Repentant, maternal, healed. It would burn. It would feel like betrayal. But it was my only chance to walk out of here in time to fight. The irony wasn't lost on me. To prove my sanity, I had to act like I was insane. To keep my autonomy, I had to pretend to surrender it. To escape my mother, I had to embrace her lies. Tomorrow I'd begin. I lay awake rehearsing lines, crying about my empty womb, thanking Dr. Whitfield for opening my eyes, asking Della for advice about egg donation. I'd let Mom drape me in those maternity dresses and coo about how natural I looked. Every word would be a dagger, every smile a chain. But it was the only way to buy my freedom. The night nurse's flashlight swept across my face. I kept my breathing slow, feigning sleep. Somewhere down the hall, someone cried. Or maybe it was the same person still crying since yesterday. In this place, the crying never really stopped. 3 days. That's all I had to convince them I was cured of the unforgivable illness of not wanting children. And the worst part? I knew I could do it. Years of watching Daniela had trained me. I knew every posture, every phrase. I could become the perfect patient. Grateful, maternal, eager to fulfill my destiny. The next morning, I raised my hand in group therapy for the first time. My voice cracked as I said, asterisk. I think I understand now. All these years, I was just running from what I really wanted. Asterisk. The therapist leaned forward, eager. Asterisk. Tell us more, Maria. Asterisk. I spun a fabricated dream of holding a baby, of finally feeling complete. The women nodded knowingly. When Dr. Whitfield summoned me, I was ready. I twisted my hands in my lap, kept my eyes downcast. Asterisk, I want to apologize. You were right. I've been using my career to avoid facing my fertility grief. Asterisk. Her face lit with triumph. Asterisk. This is wonderful progress, Maria. Asterisk. For the next hour, I fed her line after line. My jealousy of Daniela. My work with reproductive rights as projection. By the end, she was typing furiously, documenting my breakthrough. I think we should tell your mother, she said, smiling. Asterisk. She'll be so relieved. Asterisk. When Mom arrived that afternoon, I was draped in one of the maternity dresses she'd brought. The fabric hung loose on me, but I rubbed my stomach the way I'd seen Della do hundreds of times. Her eyes filled with tears. Asterisk. Oh, sweetie. You look so natural. Asterisk. I let her hug me, whispering, asterisk. I'm sorry I fought you. You were only trying to help. Asterisk. For a moment, she studied my face, suspicious. Then she smiled and pulled out her phone. Asterisk. Danny needs to hear this. Asterisk. The performance continued. I asked about egg retrieval. Looked at photos of the couple. Practiced breathing exercises from those hellish childhood drills. Dr. Whitfield was so impressed she hinted I might be released early. Asterisk, if you continue showing this level of insight, Maria, we may not need the full 72 hours. Asterisk. That night I couldn't sleep. Tomorrow was critical. I had to maintain the act and find a way to contest the conservatorship. The next morning I got my surprise. James walked in during visiting hours. This time they let him through. He looked tired, uncertain. Your mom says you're doing better, he said carefully. Every instinct screamed to blurt the truth, but I knew we were being watched. Instead, I reached for his hand. Asterisk. I've been so confused, but I think I'm starting to understand what I really want. Asterisk. His eyes widened slightly. Our silent code. He remembered. I squeezed his hand 3 times. Play along. He swallowed hard. Asterisk. Maybe when you get out we can talk about our future. Asterisk. I'd like that. I whispered, relief flooding me. Maybe he hadn't been fully taken in. That afternoon, I convinced the staff to let me use the computer to research fertility options. While the nurse hovered nearby, I smiled at glossy clinic websites. The second she turned her back, I opened my personal email. My password still worked. I fired off a desperate message to a colleague who specialized in conservatorship law. Asterisk urgent. Tomorrow. Need help. Asterisk. I checked my accounts. More money gone. At this rate, I'd be penniless within a week. Quickly, I found the conservatorship case online. My mother's claim. Grave disability due to fertility-related psychosis. The hearing? Tomorrow at 2 p.m. I memorized the case number, cleared the browser history, pasted on a bright smile just as the nurse returned. Just learning, I said cheerfully. That evening, Dr. Whitfield summoned me unexpectedly. My stomach lurched. Had they caught me? She smiled. Asterisk, your mother tells me you've been asking about specific clinics. I'm so pleased with your progress that I'm recommending immediate release. Asterisk. Asterisk, really? Asterisk, I managed to say. Asterisk, of course. Outpatient therapy will continue. Your mother has already scheduled an appointment at Blessed Beginnings tomorrow afternoon. Asterisk. Tomorrow. The same time as the conservatorship hearing. That's wonderful. I lied. The next morning at 9, I walked free. Mom was waiting with flowers and a gift bag. Prenatal vitamins, she said, pressing them into my hands. Asterisk. Just to prepare your body. Asterisk. I smiled, already plotting. Asterisk. Mom, can we stop at my apartment first? I want to change, feel normal. Look my best for the clinic. Asterisk. She hesitated, then nodded. Victory. While she busied herself in my living room, I locked myself in the bathroom and called my colleague. Asterisk, the hearing's at 2? Asterisk. Asterisk, yes. But I can't make it. Asterisk, I whispered. Asterisk, she'll have me at the clinic. File an emergency motion. Check my work email password is. There's a folder labeled personal. Everything's there. Asterisk. Mom knocked on the door. Asterisk. Everything okay, sweetie? Asterisk. Just nervous. I called back. We arrived at Blessed Beginnings at 1:30. The waiting room buzzed with couples and dazed young women. I recognized the hollow look in their eyes. They whisked me back for blood work. The nurse smiled. Asterisk. Your mother says you're eager to help. Asterisk. Very eager. I lied. At 2:15 I asked for the bathroom. Instead, I slipped out the side door and called a rideshare. The courthouse was 10 minutes away. I burst into the courtroom at 2:25. My mother sat smugly at the petitioner's table. My colleague at the respondent's table nearly sagged with relief. Your Honor, she said quickly. Asterisk, my client is here. Asterisk. Mom's face drained of color. Asterisk. She's supposed to be at the clinic. Asterisk. The judge arched a brow. Asterisk, interesting. Ms. Gonzalez, are you here of your own free will? Asterisk. Asterisk, yes, Your Honor. And I'd like to contest this petition. Asterisk. The next hour was brutal. Mom's lawyer paraded Whitfield's evaluation. The psych hold, my confessions. But my colleague countered with forged signatures, the pattern of coercion, the evidence trail. When it was my turn, I looked the judge dead in the eye. Asterisk. I don't have fertility grief. I have a mother who built her identity around my uterus. She drugged me, forged documents, and tried to destroy my credibility when I refused to be her broodmare. Asterisk. Mom sobbed. Asterisk, I just wanted grandchildren. Is that so wrong? Asterisk. You have 5, I said coldly, pointing at Daniela. Asterisk. And she can barely walk because of what you've done to her body. Asterisk. Asterisk. She chose that life. Asterisk. Asterisk, did she? Or did you condition her from age 8 to believe she had no other worth? Asterisk. The judge slammed his gavel for order. After reviewing the evidence, including the hair follicle drug tests my colleague had filed, his decision was final. Asterisk, the petition for conservatorship is denied. Furthermore, I'm issuing a restraining order. Patricia Gonzalez, you are to have no contact with your daughter Maria. Asterisk. Mom wailed. Her lawyer whispered frantically. But it was over. For the first time in weeks, I felt the faintest sliver of air. A freedom. But even as the gavel echoed, I knew this wasn't the end. This was only the first battle. As we stepped out of the courthouse, the sun felt almost too bright. Like freedom itself was blinding. But then I saw her. Daniela was in the parking lot, struggling to heave herself out of her minivan. Belly stretched tight with yet another pregnancy. All 5 of her kids were clinging to her legs and dressed like little anchors. Asterisk, how could you? Asterisk, she called across the asphalt. Her voice raw. Asterisk. Mom loves us. She loves what our bodies can do for her. Asterisk. I stopped, meeting her eyes. Asterisk, there's a difference, Danny. Loving you, and loving what your body can do for her, those aren't the same thing. Asterisk. Her 6-year-old tugged at her dress. Asterisk. Mommy, why is Grandma crying? Asterisk. Daniela froze, no answer on her tongue. Because how do you explain to a child that they're being groomed for the same fate? I turned away, my colleague falling in step beside me. Asterisk, what now? Asterisk, she asked softly. Asterisk, now? I file a complaint with the medical board. I start building a civil case against Blessed Beginnings. And maybe I try to protect Danny's daughters before they get trapped in the cycle. Asterisk. That night, James came to my apartment. We sat on the same couch where Mom had probably planted those fake baby dolls. He looked at me with guilt etched into every line of his face. I almost believed them, he admitted. Asterisk. The texts, the photos, the stories. It all looked so real. Asterisk. I gave a bitter laugh. Asterisk, that's what master manipulators do. They take a grain of truth and build a mountain of lies. Asterisk. He stayed the night, not romantically, just there. A warm body on the other end of the couch. Someone who still believed me, who saw through the fog of gaslighting. And for the first time in weeks, I felt human again. The weeks blurred after that. Real therapy. Not Dr. Whitfield's poison. Stacks of legal filings. Slowly reclaiming the shreds of my life. My firm welcomed me back once I explained everything. A few clients even reached out to apologize for doubting me. The investigation into Blessed Beginnings confirmed what I already knew. They'd been targeting vulnerable women, most referred by concerned family members, like my mother. The clinic was shut down pending review. Mom tried reaching me anyway, through cousins, old church friends, even our childhood priest. Every attempt went straight into the restraining order file. 6 weeks later, Daniela nearly died giving birth to her 6th child. She survived, but barely. The doctors told her no more pregnancies. I should have felt vindicated. Instead, I just felt hollow. She was still my sister. And now she had to face the truth. Her body had been broken in service of someone else's dream. 3 months after the conservatorship hearing, my phone rang with an unknown number. I almost ignored it. Something told me to answer. Asterisk, Aunt Maria? Asterisk, a tiny voice. Asterisk, it's Emma. Mommy's sick again. And Grandma keeps saying that when I'm older, I'll be able to have babies too. Asterisk. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Asterisk. I don't want to be like Mommy. Asterisk. My heart cracked wide open. Asterisk, you don't have to, sweetheart. You can be anything you want. Asterisk. Asterisk. Can I come see you? Mommy says you're dangerous, but you don't sound dangerous. Asterisk. My throat tightened. Asterisk. I'd love that, Emma. But we need to make sure it's okay with your mom. Asterisk. Of course it wasn't. But Emma kept calling in secret, from a friend's phone, from the school office. I became her harbor, the aunt who told her she was more than a womb. 6 months later, at a funeral for a distant relative, I saw Daniela again. She was in a wheelchair now. Her body had finally given out. Across the church, her eyes met mine. And for the first time in years I saw her. Not the vessel Mom had shaped her into, but my sister, the girl who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. She didn't speak, but she didn't look away either. A year after the trial, I was sitting in a coffee shop when a young woman approached. She looked familiar, but I couldn't place her. "You're Maria Gonzalez," she said. Asterisk, "You helped my friend escape her family. They were trying to force her to be a surrogate for her sister." Asterisk, "I'm glad she got out," I said. Asterisk, "She did, because of you. Because you fought back and went public." Asterisk, she hesitated. Asterisk, "I'm supposed to start fertility treatments next week. My mom's been planning it for years. But after seeing what happened to you, I think I'm going to run instead." Asterisk, I handed her my card. Asterisk, "Call me if you need help." Asterisk, she walked out and I sat there thinking about cycles. How they repeat. How they devour generations. How breaking them hurts everyone involved. But sometimes, breaking them is the only way forward. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma, now 7, sneaking her mom's phone again. Asterisk, "Grandma says I'm going to be a wonderful mother someday. I told her I want to be a lawyer like you. She got really mad." Asterisk, I smiled through the tears. Asterisk, "Good for you, kiddo. Stand your ground." Asterisk, the war wasn't over. It never really ends, not with family. But battles had been won. Boundaries had been drawn. And somewhere out there, girls were learning they were more than what their bodies could produce. For now, that had to be enough.
Thanks for watching. Today's train wreck is over, but tomorrow's ride is already on track. Subscribe so you don't miss it.